The basis for a good smoked fish pie is the white sauce or the roux, and I'll make that now. And you start with about 3 tablespoons of butter. We'll heat the pan up, and then I'll get my butter, my wooden spoon, and we'll gently melt that in the pan. Now it may seem like rather a lot of butter, but when you're thinking that this is going to serve 4 or 5 people, it's not really a lot. Next we add the flour to make our roux or white sauce. And what I've already done to my flour is I've added a pinch of nutmeg, one of my secret ingredients, and some white pepper. I haven't put black pepper because I like to keep things white in a white sauce. So I've got my flour here. I've got 3 tablespoons of flour matching the 3 tablespoons of butter. So put that in my pot and stir it around. So you cook this until the flour has cooked a little bit through. If you put your milk in straight away, it will taste floury, but if you cook it a little bit, it won't. Now here's the big secret. I've heated my milk so that it won't go lumpy. Gradually add your milk. And if you're worried about this, you can always use a whisk to get the lumps out. I'm pretty confident that it won't go lumpy, but you must continue stirring the whole time and gradually add your milk. Take your time with the white sauce and you'll get the best fish pie ever. You must stir white sauces continuously, otherwise you will get lumps in them. That's starting to thicken up. Give it a minute or 2 until I get it to the right consistency. You don't want them too thick, otherwise they go all solid when you make your pie. And I'm just going to add some fresh parsley out of my garden. Now I've actually turned the heat off now. I'm just letting the residual heat cook the parsley and finish off the white sauce. The final ingredient for my roux is some nice whole grain mustard, because roux can be a bit bland, so I add just about a big heaped tablespoon of whole grain mustard into it, and I also add a pinch of salt, because you always season your food. This is looking good, the smoked fish. Now I've already flaked this up, and you want it fairly chunky. I like good chunks of fish in my pie, and I'll just gently fold that into my sauce. Right, so I've got a nice ceramic bowl to cook my pie in, and it should be about the right size. You want a little bit of overflow room because you're adding other ingredients you don't want spilling out the side. So the first step is to pour in my white sauce and smoked fish, and that just looks so good. Get every last bit of that out. Give it a gentle push around the edges. Right, the next ingredient, boiled eggs. What would a smoked fish pie be without boiled eggs? And I've just chopped them up roughly, break them up all over the pie. I don't know what it is about smoked fish pie, but boiled eggs on them are just fantastic. Okay, the final step for the preparation, I've got some mashed potato that I made earlier, and what I did is I got 3 or 4 large agria potatoes. Agria are really good because they mash up really well, and I boiled them until they were nice and soft in salted water, and then I drained off the water and let them dry, because you don't want your mash to be too wet when you're making a fish pie. Now, and then I added some milk and butter and some white pepper and a little bit of salt and mashed it up, and then I've let it cool again, because you don't want it hot when you put it on your fish pie. Now the basics is just put it on top and spread it around. And using a fork gives you nice ridges that will crisp up. Cover up all the gaps, make sure it's nice and even. Get those fork ridge marks in there. That's just looking so good. Now, the other controversial, cheese or no cheese. I'm a cheese man on my fish pie, but again, optional extra. If you like cheese, put it on. If you don't, don't. But I'm going to put it on mine. About 1/4 cup of grated cheese, and I'm just going to sprinkle it. You don't want too much. You don't want it to take over all the other flavours. It's just to add a bit more to that golden brown topping. I'm going to put it in a 180-degree oven for 20 to 30 minutes. It only needs to be until the topping is brown and crispy and you know it's ready because everything else is already cooked. Well, that has come out absolutely perfectly. Look at that, golden brown and delicious. That looks like a really good smoked fish pie. My mouth's watering just looking at it. One big mouthful. Bit hot, but delicious. That's what fishing in New Zealand and around the world's all about. Going out, catching a big fish, turning it into something delicious.